Welcome to the Lincoln Bio Podcast, your one-stop destination for life-changing insights on health, wealth, legal education, relationships, and more. Ready to level up? Let's dive into the knowledge designed to transform your life.
Hey there. Welcome to this deep dive. You shared this Success Principles document with us. We know you like to get to the heart of things quickly. So let's jump right in, see what really stands out.
Okay, sounds good. What I find interesting is this document doesn't just give you random advice, it really stresses tailoring those principles to you, your individual circumstances.
I see what you mean. So first up, setting the foundation. They talk about big, ambitious goals, but not just any goals. These goals need a strong why, like a driving force.
Right.
A great example they use compares a New Year's resolution to work out, that casual resolution, to a doctor warning you about health risks. Big difference.
That is a powerful example. It reminds me of, you mentioned wanting to be well-informed before taking action, having that strong why. It's almost like gathering all the information you need. To make a truly informed decision helps you cut through the noise and focus.
Yeah, connecting those goals to a deeper sense of purpose makes total sense. Now, the document also talks about setting realistic time frames, which we know is important to you.
Yeah.
They understand you don't want to waste time
Exactly.
with unrealistic expectations.
They emphasize creating urgency, but without setting yourself up for overwhelm. It's about finding that sweet spot, pushing yourself, but also respecting your time and resources. And that actually leads perfectly into the next section, the power of action.
Okay, let's dive into that. What does taking action look like, according to this guide?
Well, they break it down into two key aspects. First, making smart decisions.
Yeah.
It's not about rushing into things, but rather taking a pause, gathering the necessary information, carefully considering all angles before you act.
That definitely resonates with your desire to be well-informed.
Yeah.
Avoid feeling overwhelmed by information overload. It's almost like they're speaking directly to you.
Right. And then the next step after those well-informed decisions is actually carrying them out. And they stress that a decision without action is just an idea.
It's like smokers who decide to quit, but then struggle to follow through.
Right.
Making the decision is one thing, but taking that first step and building momentum is key.
Yeah. They use a good analogy. A child learning to tie their shoelaces. It takes consistent practice, not just one attempt. And this principle of consistent action applies to anything you want to achieve.
So we're seeing a theme here. Consistent effort. It's not just about setting goals and making decisions. It's about consistently following through.
Absolutely. And to help with that, they emphasize the importance of structure and routine, something you appreciate in your podcast, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like having a framework that guides your actions and supports your progress.
Structure can be so empowering. It frees up mental space, so you can focus on the task at hand. But what about the mental game? The Success Principles also dives deep into mindset.
Yes. More than just think positive,
Yeah.
It's deeper than that. They offer concrete examples, like the stories of Michael Jordan and J.K. Rowling. Both faced failures early on, but persevered with a positive outlook. They exemplify what's possible when talent meets a resilient mindset.
It makes you wonder, where in your own life could a shift in mindset make a difference? It's a question worth pondering. But mindset is just one piece of the puzzle. They also talk about embracing the learning process.
Yes. And it's not just formal education. They go into different types of learning. Maintenance, growth, and shock learning. And they emphasize that learning can happen anywhere, which I think resonates with you.
Definitely. It's that constant curiosity that fuels growth, always being open to new information, diverse perspectives. And speaking of challenges, how does the document address the fear of failure?
That's where it gets really interesting. They don't shy away from failure at all. They encourage viewing setbacks as opportunities for learning, course correction, not personal defeats.
I bet they mentioned Thomas Edison and his light bulb experiments, right?
Of course. They use it to illustrate the point that failure is not the opposite of success, but rather a stepping stone along the way. And I think this is particularly relevant for you, considering your desire for constant growth and learning.
Absolutely. It's about reframing that fear of rejection into a curiosity about what we can learn from those experiences.
Exactly. Embracing the process of trial and error. Knowing that every setback is a chance to learn, refine your approach. It's interesting how they connect lifelong learning to resilience.
Oh, yeah?
Like, the more you learn and grow, the better equipped you are to handle setbacks and bounce back stronger.
So it's like that growth mindset we were talking about earlier, being open to new info,
Yeah.
even if it challenges your existing beliefs.
Exactly. And it ties back to that concept of shock learning.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you encounter something that completely shifts your perspective,
Hmm.
embracing the discomfort that comes with expanding your understanding, this flexibility, it's crucial for navigating those twists and turns, on the path to success.
It's like the more you learn, the more tools you have to handle whatever life throws at you.
And speaking of tools, I'm curious about the practical advice they offer. Any specific tips for developing those success habits we discussed?
There are. It starts with something really fundamental.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility for your actions.
Okay.
Owning your choices. Avoiding excuses when things don't go as planned.
So not blaming external circumstances.
Right. Recognizing the power you have to respond to those challenges.
I see.
They even use the analogy of adjusting your sails when the wind changes. You can't control everything, but you can control how you react and adapt.
That reminds me of the point about not fearing rejection. If you're not willing to put yourself out there and risk failure, you'll never know what you're truly capable of.
And they even offer advice on how to actually handle rejection in a way that empowers you.
Okay.
Instead of seeing it as a personal attack, view it as valuable feedback or an opportunity for growth.
That's like turning that no into a not yet, right?
Yeah.
Maintaining that positive outlook, recognizing every setback can be a chance to learn and improve.
Exactly. It's all about mindset, which conveniently is the focus of the next chapter. They dive into cultivating that positive outlook and building that mental resilience. So essential for success. Okay, this feels like the core of it all. We've got the goals, the action plan. How do we maintain that positive energy when things inevitably get tough? What are some of their techniques?
One of the most powerful tools they highlight, positive self-talk. Becoming aware of the language you use to describe yourself and your experiences.
So instead of saying, I can't do this, you'd say, I'm learning how to do this.
Exactly. It might seem like a small shift, but the language we use, huge impact on our beliefs and actions.
Yeah.
Like that Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Creating that self-fulfilling prophecy,
Right.
either for success or for failure. I bet they talk about surrounding yourself with supportive people too.
Absolutely. They emphasize having a positive support system. People who believe in you, encourage you along the way.
It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad.
Yes.
But what if someone doesn't have that strong support system, feeling isolated?
That's where their emphasis on self-reliance comes in, recognizing that while external support is valuable, ultimately, your success depends on your own commitment and effort.
So it's like that saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself, but with a more empowering spin.
Exactly. It's not about being a lone wolf, but owning your journey, recognizing the power you have to create the life you want, and that ownership extends to your interactions with others, too. They talk about honesty and accountability, not just to yourself, but to those around you.
It's like integrity, being true to your word, taking responsibility for your actions, even when it's tough.
Precisely. It's about building trust, fostering those genuine connections with yourself and with others. And speaking of connections, they dedicate a whole chapter to the importance of community and belonging.
It's interesting how they tie that into success. It's not just individual achievement. It's about contributing to something larger than yourself.
Exactly. They emphasize that success isn't just about reaching your own goals, it's about using your talents and skills to make a positive impact on the world.
It's like that sense of purpose we talked about. But on a collective level, finding ways to contribute to the greater good, leave a positive mark on the world.
Now, this next part might surprise you. They dive into the importance of living in the moment.
Wait, what? How does that tie into success? I thought success was all about setting goals, striving for the future.
That's a common misconception. The success principles challenges that head on.
Okay.
They argue that being present in the now is essential for both happiness and achievement.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
They suggest that when you're constantly dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, you're not giving your full attention to what's right in front of you.
Right.
You're dividing your focus, which can actually hinder your progress
Well, makes sense.
and prevent you from fully experiencing the journey.
It's like trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rearview mirror. You can't move forward if you're not focused on the road ahead.
Exactly. Recognizing that the present moment, that's the only time you have true control. But I know what you're thinking.
You do.
How do you actually quiet the mental chatter, focus on the now?
You read my mind.
Yeah.
Any practical tips for achieving that state of presence?
They do. One of the key practices they recommend, mindfulness meditation.
Meditation. I've heard so much about it. Reducing stress, increasing mental clarity. But how does it help with living in the moment specifically?
Well, meditation teaches you to observe your thoughts and feelings, but without judgment,
Sure.
Helps you detach from that constant stream of mental chatter and simply be present with whatever arises.
So it's like training your mind to focus on what's actually happening, rather than getting caught up in all those what-ifs and should-haves.
Precisely. And the more you practice mindfulness, the better you become at carrying that sense of presence into your everyday life. Huge impact on your well-being
Yeah.
and your ability to achieve your goals. But meditation isn't the only tool they suggest.
Let me guess. Gratitude.
You got it. They emphasize that when you focus on appreciating the good things, you're less likely to dwell on the past or worry about the future.
It's like that saying, count your blessings.
Huh?
Actively shifting your attention to the abundance that's already there.
Exactly. They even recommend keeping a gratitude journal.
Yeah.
Writing down things you're thankful for
Oh, right.
each day. It's like actively training your brain to notice the positive, even amidst challenges.
I like that. Choosing to focus on the good,
Yeah.
which can have a ripple effect on your whole outlook, your energy.
Mhm.
Any other suggestions for cultivating that sense of presence?
They talk about savoring pleasurable experiences, really taking the time to appreciate the little things that bring you joy.
It's like stopping to smell the roses. But on a deeper level, really immersing yourself in those moments.
Exactly. Being fully present with your senses, allowing yourself to experience the richness of that present moment.
And it's like if you're not fully present, you're missing out on so much
Right.
what life has to offer,
Mhm.
both the good and the bad, not fully engaged in your own life.
And the Success Principles argues that being present isn't just about enjoyment. It also enhances your ability to achieve your goals.
Okay, so we've explored living in the moment. What's next? On our deep dive into these success principles,
Get ready for an adventure, because they're about to encourage us to step outside of our comfort zones.
an adventure. That sounds exciting. Tell me more.
They emphasize embracing new experiences, pushing past those self-imposed limitations. This willingness to explore the unfamiliar, it's crucial for growth and development.
It's like that saying, life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Discovering what you're truly capable of when you dare to venture beyond the familiar.
But that can be scary. What advice do they offer for overcoming that fear, taking those leaps of faith?
Well, they start by encouraging you to reframe your perspective on fear.
Okay.
Instead of seeing it as a negative emotion to be avoided.
Yeah.
They suggest viewing it as a signal, that you're on the verge of something new and exciting.
So it's like those butterflies you get before a big presentation or a first date. It's not necessarily bad. It just means you're stepping into uncharted territory.
Precisely. They also emphasize that you don't have to make drastic changes all at once. Start small, gradually expanding your comfort zone, building your confidence with each step.
So maybe start by trying a new restaurant
Yeah,
or taking a different route to work.
exactly. It's about building momentum and resilience. With each small step you take outside that comfort zone.
I like that they don't just encourage you to take the leap. They also offer guidance on how to navigate those new experiences in a way that maximizes growth.
Yes. Approaching new situations with an open mind, a sense of curiosity, a willingness to learn from both successes and setbacks.
So it's like approaching life as one giant classroom where every experience is a lesson to be learned.
Exactly. It's about embracing a beginner's mindset, allowing yourself to be surprised by what you discover along the way.
I love that. Giving us permission to play, to explore, approaching life with that sense of wonder and possibility.
And speaking of possibility, the next chapter delves into something that's often overlooked, the power of language.
Wait, what? How does language factor into success?
The Success Principles argues that the words we use have a profound impact on our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
Okay, see the connection. Like if you're constantly telling yourself you're not good enough, you're
Yeah.
never going to achieve your goals, you're basically programming yourself for failure.
Exactly. And on the flip side, when you use positive affirmations, cultivate a vocabulary of empowerment, you're creating a mental environment that supports your success.
It's like that saying, watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny.
Exactly. And they provide practical advice on how to shift your language patterns to support your goals.
I'm all ears. What specific advice do they offer?
One of the most powerful techniques, replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations. Instead of, I'm so stupid, you'd say, I'm learning and growing.
I like that.
It's about consciously choosing to reframe those negative thoughts in a more positive, empowering light.
And I bet they talk about using positive language when interacting with others, too.
You know it. Being mindful of your words. Recognizing that language can build people up or tear them down.
So choosing to be a source of encouragement, support, rather than negativity and criticism.
Exactly. They even offer tips on how to use language effectively to persuade, influence, inspire others.
It's like if you can master language, you can unlock a whole new level of potential.
Absolutely. And speaking of potential, remember that section on taking action? They revisit that topic. But this time, they go deeper into strategies for effective execution.
Wait, haven't we already covered taking action? I thought that was discussed earlier.
They touched on it briefly, but this time they go further into strategies for execution.
Oh, okay.
And it all starts with the power of momentum.
Momentum.
Yeah.
How does that relate to taking action?
They argue that the key to overcoming procrastination and getting started is simply taking that first step, no matter how small.
It's like a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Exactly. And they recommend breaking down those large, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable tasks.
Makes sense. Like the satisfaction of checking things off your to-do list.
Yeah.
Each small win builds momentum, keeps going.
Precisely. They also encourage setting deadlines, even if they're self-imposed.
So creating that sense of urgency.
Right.
Making it clear that these goals are a priority.
Right. Holding yourself accountable to a timeline.
Okay.
And they suggest using a planner or calendar,
Oh,
scheduling specific times for working on your goals,
Yeah.
carving out that dedicated time and space.
It's all about creating structure,
Yes.
prioritizing your goals.
Yes, but let's be honest, it's easy to get sidetracked these days with all the distractions.
It really is. Social media, emails, notifications,
Yeah.
constant battle for our attention.
You're telling me? But luckily, the document offers some practical tips for managing those distractions.
Okay, I'm all ears. What do they suggest?
One of their top recommendations, creating a dedicated workspace. Whether it's a separate room or just a designated corner of your desk, having a physical space that signals to your brain, okay, time to focus.
Creating that separation between work time and leisure time. Setting boundaries to protect your focus.
Exactly. And they also recommend turning off notifications or using apps that block distracting websites.
Yeah, those are great tips. Giving yourself permission to focus.
Yeah.
Minimize those external interruptions.
But they also remind us that even the most focused minds need a break sometimes.
Of course.
They emphasize the importance of rest and recharging.
Ah, yes, rejuvenation. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. They suggest incorporating activities that help you relax, de-stress, you know, whether it's meditation, spending time in nature, or simply taking a few moments to breathe deeply, clear your mind.
It's about finding that balance
Yes.
between focused effort and mindful rest.
Right. And they even touch on the importance of sleep, nutrition, exercise for maintaining energy levels, optimizing performance.
Right.
It's a holistic approach, recognizing that all aspects of your life are interconnected.
So it's not just about grinding away at your goals. It's about nurturing your overall well-being.
Right.
Creating a sustainable lifestyle that supports success.
Precisely. And speaking of sustainability, the next chapter focuses on something that's often neglected, the importance of self-discovery.
Ooh, self-discovery. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
They emphasize identifying your strengths, your talents, and passions.
It's like that classic advice, follow your bliss.
Exactly. They argue that when you align your actions with your natural abilities and interests, you're more likely to find both success and fulfillment.
But how do you actually figure out what those strengths and passions are? Any guidance on that?
They do. They recommend various self-reflection exercises like journaling, meditation, exploring different activities, hobbies. So experimenting, trying new things to see what sparks your interest, lights you up.
Right.
And they also encourage seeking feedback from others, you know.
Yeah.
Ask friends, family, colleagues for their honest observations about your strength.
So getting an outside perspective, seeing yourself through the eyes of others.
Exactly. And they even suggest exploring assessments, personality tests that can offer insights into your unique strengths and weaknesses.
So gathering information, both internally and externally, to gain a deeper understanding of yourself.
And they emphasize that this journey of self-discovery, ongoing, your interests, passions may shift and evolve as you do.
It's like that idea of lifelong learning we talked about, always being open to new possibilities, embracing the constant evolution of the self. Speaking of evolution, I'm curious about how they address change.
Perfect timing. Because the next chapter dives into embracing change.
Change. Ooh, that could be a scary word. But I guess it's also inevitable. Life's constantly throwing curveballs.
Absolutely. The Success Principles argues that embracing change isn't just about coping, it's about seeing change as an opportunity for growth.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change.
Exactly. They also highlight the importance of being adaptable, especially in today's rapidly changing world.
Makes sense. If you're clinging to the old ways, you're likely to get left behind. But how do they suggest approaching change? In a way that minimizes the fear, maximizes the opportunities.
Well, they start by encouraging a shift in perspective.
Okay.
Instead of viewing change as a threat, try seeing it as a chance for growth, expansion.
It's about reframing that fear of the unknown into a sense of excitement for what's to come.
Exactly. And they also encourage being proactive in seeking out new experiences, new opportunities.
Yeah.
It's not just about adapting to change when it's forced upon you. It's about actively seeking out new challenges, possibilities.
So it's that blend of courage and adaptability that allows you to shape the life you want.
Precisely. And speaking of shaping your reality,
Okay.
the next chapter delves into a topic that's often met with skepticism, the importance of visualization.
Visualization. Isn't that just for athletes and new age gurus? How does it connect to achieving tangible goals?
The Success Principles present it as a powerful tool for manifesting your desires. When you create a clear mental picture of your desired outcome, you're essentially priming your subconscious mind to work toward that goal.
So it's like creating a mental blueprint for success.
Exactly. And they emphasize engaging all of your senses in the visualization process, not just sight.
So it's about feeling the emotions, hearing the sounds, experiencing the sensations associated with achieving that goal.
Precisely. The more vivid and detailed the visualization, the more powerful its impact on your subconscious mind.
It's like if you can truly believe it, you can achieve it. Any specific techniques for effective visualization?
They suggest creating vision boards, writing affirmations, practicing guided meditations. All of these can help create a powerful image of your desired outcome.
I'm adding visualization to my list. But even with that, I imagine there are times when you need a hefty dose of persistence.
You're absolutely right. And wouldn't you know it? The next chapter delves into the importance of persistence.
Persistence. Easier said than done. Especially when facing setbacks, obstacles. What advice do they offer for staying the course, not giving up?
They start by revisiting the importance of having a clear why. Remember we talked about that?
Yes, but didn't they already cover that earlier?
They mentioned it, but now they dive deeper into how purpose fuels persistence.
Oh, okay, I'm curious. How do they explain that connection?
They argue that when your sense of purpose goes beyond just personal gain, you're more likely to stay motivated, committed, even when things get tough.
So if you're driven by something bigger than yourself, like making a difference in the world, you're more likely to keep going when the going gets tough.
Exactly. And they suggest connecting your goals to your values.
Good.
Identify those core beliefs that drive your actions, your decisions. When your goals are aligned with your values, they're more likely to feel meaningful, which fuels that persistence.
Like a compass, guiding you through those inevitable storms. But what about when you feel like giving up? What do they recommend for staying on track?
They emphasize celebrating small wins, acknowledging your progress along the way.
The power of positive reinforcement. It's like that feeling you get when you check things off your list.
Right.
Each small win keeps you moving forward.
Precisely. They even suggest rewarding yourself for achieving milestones.
It's like those little pats on the back, acknowledging the effort, celebrating the incremental win.
Exactly. And of course, they reiterate the importance of a supportive network, people who believe in your dreams.
Your personal cheerleading squad. But not everyone has that.
Right.
What if someone's feeling isolated, lacking that positive reinforcement?
That's where the emphasis on self-reliance comes in, that inner strength.
Okay.
Recognizing that while external support is valuable, ultimately your persistence depends on your own belief in yourself, your ability to overcome challenges.
It's like you've got to believe in yourself when no one else does.
Exactly. And they suggest developing practices that cultivate self-compassion, resilience, like meditation, mindfulness, positive self-talk.
Powerful tools for building that inner strength.
Right. It's about developing those mental muscles that allow you to resist distractions and stay focused, even when things get tough.
Right.
And they also encourage reframing your perspective on failure.
Wait, haven't we talked about reframing failure already?
They touched on it, but this time they revisit it in the context of persistence.
Okay, I'm curious to hear how they connect the two.
They argue that persistence isn't about avoiding failure. It's about learning from mistakes and using them to refine your approach, strengthen your resolve.
So it's like fall 7 times, stand up 8.
Exactly. Viewing failure as feedback, a chance to learn and grow, rather than a personal shortcoming.
Turning those setbacks into stepping stones on the path to success.
Right. And they encourage celebrating your efforts, even if they don't always lead to the intended outcome.
So acknowledging the courage to try,
Yeah.
even if you don't always hit the mark.
Exactly. Honoring the journey, the effort, the growth that comes from pursuing your goals.
This is so inspiring. That blend of persistence, resilience, self-compassion,
Yes.
it empowers you to keep going.
Yeah.
But what about discipline? Do they talk about that? The role of discipline in achieving success.
They do. The next chapter is all about discipline, but they present it in a way that might surprise you.
Oh, how so? Discipline often makes me think of strict routines and self-denial.
That's a common perception. But the success principles emphasizes discipline's role in creating freedom.
Really?
They argue that when you develop self-discipline, you gain the power to make choices aligned with your values and goals.
Wait, so discipline leads to more freedom. How does that work?
They explain that discipline isn't about restriction, it's about empowerment.
Okay.
When you're disciplined, you're not controlled by impulses, distractions.
Right.
You're in the driver's seat.
It's like that saying, discipline equals freedom.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect or denying yourself pleasure. It's about making conscious choices that support your well-being
I see.
and your long-term aspirations.
That makes sense. Like, if you're disciplined about your health, you're more likely to have the energy to pursue your passions.
Precisely. They offer tips for cultivating discipline in various areas of life, like time management, finances, relationships.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What specific advice do they give for developing self-discipline?
One of the primary recommendations, create routines and rituals.
Structure and consistency. We've definitely seen that theme before.
Absolutely. They explain that having routines
Yeah.
helps automate good habits, makes it easier to stay on track even when motivation is low.
So if you have a set time for working out or writing,
Yeah.
you're more likely to do it, even if you're not feeling it.
Exactly. And they recommend starting small, gradually building those discipline muscles.
Like making your bed every morning or going for a 20-minute walk.
Precisely. It's about those small wins, creating a sense of momentum.
And I bet they talk about inner discipline as well, right? Not just the external actions, but that internal ability to control your thoughts, emotions.
You read my mind. They suggest practices like mindfulness and positive self-talk
Right.
for strengthening mental focus, resilience.
Building that mental muscle. That
Yeah.
helps you stay focused, committed when facing distractions and challenges.
Exactly. They also encourage cultivating patience, recognizing that lasting change takes time and effort.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. And they suggest focusing on the process, not just the outcome.
Okay.
Celebrating those small steps along the way, recognizing that every effort contributes to growth, even if it doesn't lead to immediate success.
It's that blend of discipline, patience, and self-awareness that allows you to create lasting change.
And speaking of creating, the next chapter shifts gears to creativity and innovation.
Ooh, creativity and innovation. Now we're talking. Tell me more.
The success principles emphasizes nurturing your creative spirit, embracing a mindset of curiosity.
It's like that classic advice, think outside the box.
Exactly. They argue that the ability to generate new ideas, find innovative solutions, that's essential in today's world.
But isn't creativity something you're either born with or not? Can you really learn to be more creative?
That's a common misconception. They challenge that idea.
Yeah.
They argue that creativity is a skill. You can develop it through practice and experimentation.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Any advice for boosting creative potential?
Well, they start by highlighting a mindset of curiosity and wonder.
So approaching life with the eyes of a child, always asking questions, seeking out new experiences.
Exactly. They recommend practices like keeping a journal, exploring new hobbies, engaging in brainstorming sessions to spark that imagination.
Giving yourself permission to play and explore, tapping into that innate creativity we all have.
Right, and they encourage you to break free from the fear of judgment. Be willing to experiment, make mistakes.
Like fail fast and fail often.
Exactly, recognizing that mistakes are not failures, but opportunities for learning and growth.
Yeah.
And to further cultivate that creative spark, surround yourself with inspiring people and environments.
So seek out those who challenge you to think differently. Ignite your imagination.
Precisely. Attend workshops, conferences, events that expose you to new ideas, perspectives.
Proactively seeking out inspiration, expanding your creative horizons.
And now for a topic that often gets overlooked, the importance of intuition.
Intuition, isn't that just a gut feeling? How can you rely on something that seems so subjective, unreliable?
That's a common misconception. The document challenges that. They argue that intuition is a powerful source of wisdom, can be cultivated and honed.
Okay, interesting. Tell me, how do they connect intuition with achieving success?
They suggest that intuition isn't just a random hunch. It's a deep inner knowing that stems from your experiences, knowledge, subconscious processing.
So intuition's drawing on a vast reservoir of information that your conscious mind may not even be aware of.
Exactly. They emphasize learning to trust your intuition. It can often guide you towards the best course of action.
But how do you know if it's a true intuitive hit or just wishful thinking? Any guidance on that?
They do. They recommend practices like meditation, journaling, spending time in nature to quiet the mind, create space for intuition to emerge.
So creating that inner stillness
Right.
where you can actually hear that voice of wisdom.
Exactly. And they also encourage paying attention to your body's signals. Physical sensations, like that gut feeling, can often provide clues about the right path forward.
It's like tapping into that inner compass that guides us toward our true north.
Exactly. Developing your intuition. It's a continuous process. It requires patience, practice, and trust in yourself.
I'm adding intuition to my toolkit. What's next on our deep dive? What other wisdom is in store?
Well, in the final chapter, they bring together all the principles we've discussed and highlight the importance of integrating them into a holistic approach to life.
So not mastering one or two techniques in isolation. It's about weaving them all together into that tapestry of success.
Exactly. They argue that true success
Yeah.
encompasses more than just external achievements.
Right.
It's about inner peace, happiness, sense of purpose.
Creating a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling, where your actions are aligned with your values.
Right. And they emphasize that success is a journey, not just a destination. The pursuit of your goals is just as important as the achievement itself.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Exactly. They recommend practices like gratitude, mindfulness, self-reflection for staying present, appreciating each step along the way.
Slowing down, savoring the experience, rather than rushing toward the finish line.
Precisely. And they emphasize continuous learning and growth. Life is a constant evolution. The pursuit of knowledge, self-improvement, it's a lifelong endeavor.
It's about embracing a growth mindset.
Yes.
Always open to new possibilities, new challenges.
Exactly. And when those challenges result in setbacks or failures, viewing them as opportunities for learning and growth, every experience contributes to your overall development.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
If you can embrace that perspective, every challenge becomes a stepping stone
Right.
on the path to a more fulfilling, successful life.
Absolutely. And they conclude by emphasizing the importance of contribution. Real success isn't just about personal achievement. It's about making a positive impact on the world around you.
Using your talents, resources to make a difference,
Yeah.
leaving a positive legacy.
Exactly. They encourage finding ways to give back to your community. Support causes you believe in. Use your success to empower, inspire others.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from setting goals, taking action, to cultivating that positive mindset, embracing change, tapping into intuition and persistence. What about you? What stands out as the most significant takeaway from these success principles?
I think what's most remarkable is the interconnectedness of it all. It's not about picking and choosing one or two techniques. It's about weaving them together,
Yeah.
creating a holistic approach to life.
It's like that tapestry we talked about, each thread contributing to the overall beauty, strength of the design.
Exactly. And while the specific strategies and techniques are valuable, what truly matters is the underlying mindset.
Yeah.
That belief in yourself, willingness to embrace growth, commitment to a life of purpose, contribution.
It's like if you cultivate that strong inner foundation, everything else falls into place.
And the document doesn't present success as something only attainable for a select few. It's available to anyone who's willing to put in the effort. Embrace the journey.
Right.
Never stop learning and growing.
Okay. Welcome back. So what final gems does this Success Principles document have for us?
Well, they bring it all together in this last chapter. Highlight the importance of integration.
Oh,
Taking all these principles and making them a holistic approach to life.
So it's not about mastering one or two techniques, it's about weaving them all together into a tapestry of success.
Exactly. True success isn't just about those external achievements. It's also about inner peace, happiness, a sense of purpose.
Creating a life that feels meaningful, where your actions align with your values.
Right. And success is a journey, not a destination. The pursuit of your goals is just as important as the achievement.
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Exactly. Practices like gratitude, mindfulness, self-reflection help you stay present, appreciate every step of the way.
It's about slowing down, savoring the experience, not just rushing towards the finish line.
Precisely. And they emphasize continuous learning and growth. Life is always evolving. The pursuit of knowledge, self-improvement, a lifelong thing.
Embracing a growth mindset, open to new possibilities, new challenges.
Exactly. And even when those challenges lead to setbacks, viewing them as opportunities, every experience contributes to your development.
It's like if you can really embrace that perspective, every challenge becomes a stepping stone.
Absolutely. And they conclude by emphasizing contribution. Real success isn't just about personal achievement. It's also about impacting the world around you. Positively, of course.
Using your talents and resources, making a difference, leaving a positive legacy.
Exactly. Find ways to give back to your community. Support causes you believe in. Use your success to empower, inspire others.
This has been an incredible deep dive. So much ground covered. Setting goals, taking action, cultivating that positive mindset, embracing change, intuition, persistence. I've been a lot. What about you? What stands out as the biggest takeaway for you from these success principles?
The interconnectedness of it all is really remarkable. It's not about picking and choosing techniques. It's about weaving them together.
Yeah.
Creating a holistic approach to life.
Like that tapestry.
Yeah.
Each thread contributes to the overall beauty and strength.
Exactly. The specific strategies, techniques are great, but what really matters is that underlying mindset, that belief in yourself, the willingness to embrace growth, that commitment to living a life of purpose, contribution.
If you cultivate that strong inner foundation, everything else falls into place.
And they don't present success as something exclusive, you know?
Yeah.
It's available to anyone willing to put in the effort. Embrace the journey. Never stop learning and growing.
This has been an incredibly insightful journey through the success principles. Before we go, I have one last question for you, listener. The document talks about taking action, embracing the learning process. What's one small step you can take today, inspired by what you've learned, to move closer to a goal? It could be writing down your why, trying a new mindfulness technique, reaching out to someone who inspires you. Take a moment, think about that. And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive into the success principles.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Link in Bio podcast. Want to dive deeper into today's topic? Grab your copy now. Just click the link in the description. Stay curious, stay empowered, and we'll see you next time.